Enyanom ni adofo mechichi obia. This is Richard Kwabena Asare, and I'm excited to be part of Humans of Telecom.
Hey everyone, a very warm welcome to Humans of Telecom, the Unplugged podcast. This is your host Anurag Aggarwal. As you all know, this podcast goes beyond technology and focuses more on the personal lives of the people who make this all possible. This is where we peel back the layers of our fast-moving industry to explore the real human stories behind the titles and the tech. Stories that are filled with ambition, turning points, and yes, even a few laughs along the way. And our guest today, well, he's very much a part of the telecom fabric, but his path to the industry is anything but typical. Coming from the heart of Africa, by title, he's the CEO of a Ghanaian telecom company. But by journey, he's a banker who spent over 20 years mastering the art of client relationships and operational turnarounds. So how does a career banker end up becoming a telecom entrepreneur? What made him pivot into an industry he knew little about at that time? And how has that unconventional background shaped the company he leads today? We'll be unpacking all of this and much more, so let's dive in right away. Please join me in welcoming Richard Kwabena Asare, founder and CEO at We2Stars Company Limited, Ghana. Richard, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of this journey. We'd love to hear more about you, which part of the world do you belong to, and from where are you joining this podcast today?
Thank you, Anurag. I'm joining the podcast from Tema, Ghana. I'm actually from the eastern region of Ghana. Ghana has about 16 regions, and I'm from the eastern part of Ghana. And I was also born in a town called Akosombo. Akosombo is synonymous with generation of electricity. So the very first hydroelectric dam in Ghana was established in Akosombo. And you have the longest man-made lake also in Africa, also found in Akosombo. So I grew up in this town. There were so many opportunities that were open onto me. I attended some of the best schools in the country, and we had some of the great experiences. The town basically provided everything from sports, like swimming, athletics, whatever, anything you wanted to do. So really, that has been my background as a child and growing up.
Wonderful. I think Africa always brings about so many vivid memories. And I've personally never visited Ghana. I've been to Senegal, so that's the westernmost I've been in Africa. Would love someday to come to Ghana as well and get a first-hand experience of all the wonderful things you're telling about that place. But let's hear a bit more about your telecom story now. I mentioned that you've been a banker, but you got into the telecom space. How has Richard's journey been so far?
Well, I'm not the typical kind of telecoms person. I got into telecoms, I would say, by accident. But there's something interesting about my background, which basically connects to my current role or my current business in the telecom space. I mentioned that I went to some of the best schools in Ghana. And one of the things that's growing up was quite exciting for me was arts and crafts. So I recall that as a boy, I could turn milk things into toy cars. So we could design all kinds of cars, and we would play with them. And I had my own company that I actually had other younger boys that I used to train to make some of these toy cars. And not only that, we could use the empty tins to actually could connect them and would say that we're making phone calls through those tins. And I'm not sure that it worked those days, but basically that's the vivid memory of what I have of what I tried to do in the telecom space as a little boy. Apart from that, in secondary school, I was started to do a project work for one of our speech and prize giving days. And one of the things I picked up to do was to build a two-way traffic light system. So I was helped by a telecoms engineer. And through my engagement with them, visiting them in the office, I got introduced into telecommunications, and I tried to do as much as I could, even though I never really pursued a career in telecoms. Now that I'm in telecoms, I reconnected to that history, and it has helped me a lot to actually develop a further interest in business into this telecom space. Now, I mentioned already that I've been a banker all these years, and telecoms came to me basically as a business opportunity, and I took it. The government was issuing out licenses to international wholesale carriers, and I got wind of it and I decided to get into it. So that is how I got into telecoms. Initially, I wasn't managing it myself. I got people who were trying to manage it for myself, but for me, but I had a lot of challenges with some of the people that were managing it for me. So I decided that I would manage it alongside my banking career. And this is where I am.
Interesting. So you actually had the entire experience of being in the financial space, and now you're also doing so many exciting things in telecom.
Yes.
So, in this telecom journey, especially Richard, has there been one particular moment which has been very memorable or impactful that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yes. There have been several memorable situations in this business or since I started my telecom journey. Um, I mean, I'll struggle to pick one particular incident, but I think that one of the most exciting thing is when I was able to develop my own VoIP app, which by the way would soon be on the market. So that is, I mean, I guess that is the most exciting thing that has happened in this telecoms journey. I've been trying to develop an application, a very purposeful application for many years now since I started this journey. And I mean, I've faced many challenges, but finally I arrived. And that is what excites me the most about my telecom journey. I think that is a great achievement that I've come to.
Wonderful. And I wish you all the very best for your app once it hits the market. Do share it with our listeners, and I'm sure many will find it interesting.
Thank you.
So, on that note, now, Richard, let's move from the telecom side and focus more on the human side about Richard. So, Richard, there's so many interesting aspects about you that we've unlocked out here in this conversation so far. But if there is something about you which is unknown to a lot of people in the industry and people around you, anything interesting or shocking, what would that one thing be?
Okay. So I would say that my career did not only start in the financial sector. I actually started basically in the health sector and eventually ended up in the financial sector. And then now I'm doing it telecoms. So, I mean, you would think that how is anybody going to start something in medical field and then move into finance and then now in telecom? So basically, that is the interesting thing that I mean about my career path. I started in the medical field, not as a professional though, but I was introduced into the medical field by a godfather who is a medical doctor, and he got me to start working with him, basically to get me interested in that field. And I worked for about 2 years, and then I decided that I was going to change my career path, and that's how come I ended up in the financial sector, and now I'm in telecoms.
Interesting. So, healthcare, financial space, and now in telecom. Gosh, I don't know what more is in store for Richard yet.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And Richard, given that you are busy juggling so many different professions one after the other, you must be having something which you do to recharge yourself, some passions, some interests, some hobbies. Can you share something with our listeners here today?
Okay, so I love sightseeing. I mean, I really, really love sightseeing. And so I make time to travel and to go see beautiful sights, whether in country or out of the country. I already mentioned that I grew up in Akosombo, and because of the hydroelectric dam in Akosombo, there are a lot of mountains and a lot of trees and stuff like that. I mean, I love to drive, I mean, on the mountain side and just seeing the rivers down there and all of that. Basically, allows me to calm down. I'm also quite a passionate driver. So I don't drive any other car apart from BMWs because I mean BMWs are quite exciting and the way they respond is like no other vehicle that I've ever driven. So whenever I'm stressed out, all I need to do is to just get into my BMW and drive, and then I get some relief. And apart from that, too, as I mentioned, sightseeing. Just going to beautiful sceneries and taking pictures and just seeing nature and all of that basically allows me to cool down. I also love farming. Growing up, my father was a very enterprising person. He was an engineering technician with the Volta River Authority, which basically managed the hydroelectric dam. But he was also very humane. That is, he used to take care of many people outside of his children. So one of the things that he used to help people with is provide them with food. So we used to have a lot of farms where we would go cultivate lots of crops and then give it to people for free. And so I developed a passion in farming and also horticulture. So I love to plant trees. I love to spend time cultivating crops and also just watering flowers and watering plants and stuff like that. That basically, makes me very, very happy and excited. So that's the other side of me.
Interesting, Richard. There are seriously so many facets about you traveling, driving your BMWs. And I must say to all our listeners here, so next time, if any of you lands up in Ghana, you have a wonderful tourist guide who will take you around in his amazing BMW
Yes.
and also give you absolutely fresh cut farm vegetables. So, you can be sure that you'll have a wonderful experience when you're in Ghana, and we have a dear Richard to take care of us.
Yes, I think that you'll be the first person that will be doing that for. So I'm inviting you to Ghana officially so that I can give you a taste of Ghana and you'll never forget it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Richard. I'll take that invitation, and definitely one day, hopefully, I do get to come to your wonderful country. And I hope many of our listeners here, I'm sure in our industry, so many people make their way to Africa also. So I hope some of the listeners can actually connect with Richard and know a lot more about his background, his passion, and about Ghana. So, on that note, Richard, let's move on to a fun part of our conversation: two truths and a lie. So, do you have three statements for us, of which two have to be truths, one have to be a lie, and I'll try and guess the lie. So, can we have those statements?
that's that's very interesting. So the first statement, I am partly Ghanaian and have some Nigerian heritage as well.
Okay.
And then the second statement, I switched from an engineering career in the university to study mathematical sciences at the undergraduate.
Okay.
And then the third statement, that We2Stars is and has always been a wholly Ghanaian owned company with no foreign ownership.
Hmm. Well, okay. Let's see. I'll go with the third one, which is actually, while the question is more about you than about V2 Stars, but I think out here V2 Stars and Richard are the same for us. So, okay,
Yeah.
I would like to believe that's the truth. It is a wholly Ghanaian owned company and it's wholly owned by you. So, I'll presume that's a truth. Engineering to mathematics. That doesn't seem unbelievable for you, Richard, given all the jumps and hops you've already been having. So I'll presume that's the truth as well. And while there is a possibility that you could be part Ghanaian and part Nigerian, but let's assume that just like V2 Stars, Richard is also fully owned by Ghana only. So he's a complete Ghanaian and there is no element of Nigeria in him. So
No, I've got to clap for you. I've got to clap for you. You got everything right. Wow. Wow. That maybe I probably didn't give you tough questions, but I think all your guesses are correct. The way you analyzed it is extremely, amazing. So you are right in all your guesses.
Wonderful. And engineering and mathematics, but finally you started off with the medical profession. Huh? So that means that even you mentioned about the Godfather when you were talking about medicine. So that means
Yeah.
that also happened not as a result of education, but as a result of somebody whom you know. And Richard, on that note, the final question of this section. There are so many exciting facets to your life that you mentioned, but if there is one thing you could change about your life, what would that one thing be?
Um, I'll be honest with you that nothing really comes to mind, but I really wish that I could retire by the age of 50. But I'm not sure that I have the luxury of doing that. So, I mean, I really wish that I could just retire and then just spend time the rest of my life with family. I mean, going on sightseeing, adventures, and all of that, traveling around the world. I mean, I wish I could do that, but basically, that's the thing that I wish I could change about my life, but I'm not sure that I can do that.
Well, you never know, Richard. So, as they say never. And knowing you and your enterprising nature, I think you will find a way around this as well. So, you will find ways to run your companies on autopilot and at the same time go around and see the world. So, I wish you all the very best for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. And Richard, while we're having a very interesting conversation and we've unpacked so much about your background and your life, but we're down to our final question, our signature question. What does being human mean to you? What sort of a human being would you want the world to remember you as?
So I would want the world to remember me for my compassion, my giving, my kindness, and what how I've been able to change people's lives for the better. I have been inspired by some of the things that my late father did. And it's the same thing that basically resonates in my spirit every now and then, that the same way I remember my father for the things he did, I would want to be remembered for the same thing. I believe in being truthful and doing the right business the right way. So even in business, I always try as much as possible to be very, very truthful and open in my conversations so that anybody who deals with me can be assured that whatever I say is what I mean and what I mean is what I say. I would also, when I see people by the roadside begging, my heart bleeds and I always wish that I could make enough to be able to get people off the streets and to be able to put a smile on as many people in the world as possible. That would be a great legacy for me if I'm able to achieve that. And that is what my heart basically cries for as I go about my business.
Wonderful, Richard. I think there are some amazing thoughts. And I think I can say on behalf of all our listeners and all the people in the industry who interacted with you, I think compassion is something which you do reflect in your conversations. And I'm pretty sure that you will definitely manage to carry the legacy of your family further ahead and do a lot more than you've already achieved so far. I think already all the things that we've heard about, they are fantastic. And it's almost impossible to believe that one individual has done so many different works of life, whether it's healthcare and now telecom. And I think your passions and your interests, I think they will take you a long way and will keep you into good stead. So I wish you all the very best for that.
Thank you, Anurag, for having me on your show. I mean, I'm really grateful and I thank you for putting this kind of show together. I wish you all the best. I pray that this show would basically be known all around the world and that you'll be able to achieve the purpose for which you set this thing up. I think that at the end of the day, we must all remember that we are all human. And so whatever makes us human is very, very important. And I'm happy that you put this program together to let us all realize that at the end of the day, we are all human. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, Richard. Yeah, I mean, the intention of Humans of Telecom is to bring it out there for everyone that each one of us has a story to share. We are all humans, and there is so much more to us than what meets the eye. So, thanks a lot for taking out time and joining us from the westernmost parts of Africa.
Thank you. Thank you, Anurag.
And to all our wonderful listeners here, thanks a lot for tuning into the show. We hope this episode gave you a good glimpse of the human side of Richard Kwabena Asare. From healthcare to finance and now telecom, he is someone who's building a life that is anything but ordinary. A seasoned traveler drawn to the mountains, a passionate BMW driver who finds joy behind the wheel, a farmer at heart building his legacy in agriculture and horticulture, and above all, a proud and enterprising Ghanaian innovator. That for us is Richard Kwabena Asare. So, if you enjoyed today's episode, do stay tuned in because we shall soon be releasing yet another episode and another compelling story from the telecom space. And do follow the podcast on your preferred streaming channel. On behalf of Humans of Telecom, this is your host Anurag Aggarwal signing off for now. Take care.